The PodBrother.
Yeah.
Tell me when. You give me
Okay, and go.
I got one piece of advice. Stick with the PodBrother.
Yours sounds right.
Stick with the PodBrother.
Stick with the PodBrother.
Oh, I love these girls.
Come on, brother or brother? Or brother.
Either one works.
Stick with the PodBrother.
Hey, PodBrother. Why don't you step up to the plate and stick me? Oh, that's not what I meant.
I'm Justin Renkin. Step up to the plate and stick with the PodBrother.
Hello, I am Sigmund Brettschneider.
Ich heiße Heidi.
Thank you very much. We have won a great holiday.
Let's take a picture.
I think. Oh yes. Oh, American burgers. We will eat a lot of American burgers.
We just landed here. We flew in an airplane the first time in our lives.
It's very beautiful.
Girl, it's an American flag. Exactly how it looks like on the posters.
Beverly Hills Cop. I want to see the Beverly Hills Cop.
The Hollywood sign. You know those letters on the mountains there?
Where should we go first?
I don't care. You decide.
Okay. We will go to the hotel and then the red carpet.
Hey guys, this is Ellie Molina reporting live from the Red Carpet's premiere from the newest film of Scoop Jackson, The Red Carpet.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is the PodBrother Show. I am Stephen E. Kimbrough. You know who you are. And today, my guest is the lovely, the talented, the very beautiful Carla Stoelting. How are you, love?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Yeah, I've never known what the E stands for.
That stands for Eric.
Okay.
You know, I mean, you know, some people it stands for, you know, enough. That's enough. You can make it stand for whatever you want it to stand for, Carla.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what it could stand for. Okay.
You know, some people say it's for affection.
Whoa, that's an A. It could be for effect.
There you
That's
go.
with an E.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, I went to a public school, so that explains that. I'm glad you caught it. I'm gonna have to send you all my scripts so you can check my typos. So how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good.
You just got moved into your new place. I see. It's beautiful.
I do. Can you see it?
I can. It's lovely, spacious, a lot of light. It's bright
Yeah.
and cheery.
There's still stuff I need for sure. Like, I don't know if you can kind of tell, but dying to get some bar stools back here. Right now I have a couple borrowed ones, but I need something taller. You know, and like one project leads to 20. You do one thing, you buy new pillows, and now you need a new throw, and you need new curtains, and
that's how it works. It's a never ending project. You'll be moving in for the next 5 years, so that's just how it goes. That's how it works.
Well, I hope so. It's better that than to just get stagnant, and you know, you stop noticing like the piles of stuff that you never dealt with in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope it's a process.
I've been going through some of your stuff, and you started your career modeling earlier in your year. Tell me, how did you get into the business? We're going to get into some of your acting here a little bit. We've got your reel we're going to show a little bit later. But how did you first get into the entertainment industry? What was your start?
You know, I was born in Chicago, but I was raised in North Dakota and Idaho. So I really wasn't exposed to much of anything. And I always thought like modeling would be the most amazing thing. And I knew that the minimal height was like 5'8", and so it's just interesting. Like I grew 3 inches out of high school. I was 5'5" when I graduated high school, and I was like, gotta get to 5'8", and I eventually did, which is kind of funny. But I moved kind of immediately to Santa Barbara, where I got accepted to go to UCSB. And started doing a little modeling there. I was with an agency there called LaBelle, and then also started working in the music industry when I was there. and I was going to school full-time and working full-time, and I started working at the County Bowl, which is kind of like the Greek theater here, and I loved music, and I loved my job, and I was just kind of taking classes around when I could take them, when they were available, either morning or nighttime, but I still had to work full-time to support myself, so that just kind of won out. I had a job that I liked, and they were paying me to be there, and then there was school that I was paying to be there and not really able to just fully focus on that. So I went there for 2 years, and then I dropped out and continued working at the County Bowl. And it was actually that. I actually originally moved to LA to work for Kenny Loggins, who was Ed Mick, like his manager and those people while working at the Bowl. But throughout all that, I always continued to model and kind of started getting into commercials, which is a pretty kind of common way to break in, because they're much more open to seeing people who aren't yet in the union. Like, you can't really go audition for a TV show unless you're in SAG. That would be my cat, if you hear that.
I saw your cat earlier. Your cat's cute.
Yeah, you'll be seeing him again for sure. But anyway, yeah, I started going out on commercials, and it was actually my third audition ever. I booked Dan and Yogurt, and then like 2 auditions later, I booked something for Disney Home Video, and I was like, this is it. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. It's a sign, you know? And then, of course, you go like a year before you book something else again. But commercials have been pretty consistent for me. And that's also sort of the segue. I guess I always thought that acting was what you did when you got too old to model. And then I was like, oh, so acting's what you do when you get too old to model. So commercials are fun. And anyway. And I've done some TV and film as well. Just the commercials have been the most consistent. But I did some soap work. I had 5 episodes of Port Charles, which was a spin-off of General Hospital, and that was fun. Like, I grew up watching General Hospital, and then I ended up getting to work on the show and work with all these people that I had really admired, and it's a whole different way of working too. It's very, like, the script is changing, basically right up until you shoot, and so I tend to kind of have short-term memory anyway, so I would sort of power it out and learn it, and then you shoot it, and then you move on to the next thing. And it's interesting too, because like when you're going to an acting class, you get a scene, and it's you speak, and then that person speaks, and you speak, and they speak. But like on that, I was playing an attorney, and there were generally like 6 people in my scenes, and so I really had to, and one of the actors who will remain nameless and who's very, well known on that show, he would really improvise the lines, and mine tended to kind of fall after his. So I really quickly learned that I couldn't wait for him to say something as my cue for when my line came in, because he just made the shit up. So I very kind of quickly learned the pattern, like, okay, so I know that's for they speak, then me, then they, and then, then me. But I was a whole different way of thinking, where I wasn't like listening for key words.
Sure. And that's a very good tip. I mean, a lot of people, they don't know to do that, especially the new people, when they get into the business, that, your A-list co-star who's got liberties can improvise their line. And if you're like going letter for letter, and then all of a sudden, like, oh snap, that's not in the script,
Yeah.
So you were a quick study when it came to coming off the page, I take it.
Yeah, well, sink or swim, baby.
Trial by fire, right?
Yeah. Totally.
Oh, that's cool. In your modeling, was it mostly print modeling, or did you do runway, or a little bit of both? What was
I did like Santa Barbara fashion shows, and like had a weekly gig at a department store, where we would like model stuff there. And I still do some of that stuff. I I up until pretty recently was like doing showroom modeling downtown for someone who, you know, the people would come in and the buyers would come in and then you'd come out with the clothes so that they could place their orders, that sort of thing. And some print, you know, I still do whatever comes up for sure. It's something I still really enjoy.
I am going to the Magic Show in Vegas. There's like thousands of designers and manufacturers and everybody that's in the textile industry that's there, and they have, you know, fashion shows like almost on the hour with everybody that's going there. Have you ever did the Magic Show in Vegas and had a chance to work your modeling in any of those venues?
You know, I actually went once I had a friend at Diesel Footwear, and I went and wore shoes for them and kind of assisted them in other ways. And I imagine she'll be there this year as well. She's working for some other company where it's all about, she's in charge of the textiles.
Nice.
So, Joanne, shout out if she watches this.
I got my media badge for that show to cover some fashion. So the PodBrother is going to be covering fashion.
It's a lot of men's fashion too, though, isn't it?
It's everything. It's men's, women, kids, bikini.
What will you be focused on?
Whatever I find interesting and wherever I want to go. I mean, fashion is fashion. I'm pretty much going to focus on like women and men and, you know, couture and formal and fun stuff, you know, night out, bikini. I like the bikini, swimwear, you know, casual.
I'm sure you do. I'm thinking of other things that E could stand for right about now.
Right.
Effervescence. We'll go with effervescence.
We will go with effervescence for sure on that E.
No, I love fashion too. Like, just hearing you talk about it, I'm like, oh yeah, I would love to go. I love clothes.
Yeah, well, you know, maybe I can get an extra badge for you. You can come and be my, you know, my fashion arm candy co-host.
I like it.
And
That's a good title.
We could cover bikinis together.
Okay.
Yeah, you're more about covering the men's. I know where you are.
Yeah.
You want to see the young hot swinging steaks. I understand.
Right? Yeah.
So
men's swimwear is not that great, you know.
Yeah, you know, not really. Not really.
No.
But, you know, is it supposed to be, you know, men's formal and suits, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's cool stuff. So you're acting. The first time that you, you know, okay, so you're modeling, and then you decide, what you do after you model is act. So what's my first step? So what was the first step that you took? Very, very first step. I mean, if you can rewind the tape into, all right, I no longer want to weld. I want to be a plumber. What's the first thing that I do? So in your case, it's modeling to acting. What was the very first thing?
You know, I mean, first of all, they're very similar. Like, because of modeling, I knew how to take a headshot, you know, and headshots are so important because that's what gets you in the door. And it's amazing to me how many actors really hate taking headshots because it's just a big part of what you do. And, you know, and how many people will just sit there and be very stiff. And really, it's kind of, I'm hearing Tyra Banks in my head because I'm one of the few people who still watches America's Next Top Model, but it's from head to toe where, you know, it's your whole body, and as an actor, you're using your whole body. So when I do headshots, I think of it as something that goes from head to toe, even if you're just shooting from here. But so I guess I first got into class with somebody and then took headshots and sent them out to get an agent, commercial agent. And that happened pretty quickly. And, you know, just started getting submitted for commercials. And like I said, I think it was maybe my third audition was a standing yogurt that I ended up booking. And that was awesome. And that made me psych eligible. And then like 2 auditions later, I got the Disney thing. But then, like I said, these big droughts can go on in between, you know, like something like that happens and you're just so on a roll, or you book a job and you just feel like I could book anything, and then you sit there and you don't have an audition again for like 3 weeks. And it's, you know, it can be a real roller coaster.
Your first TV film role, tell me about that experience. Was that something that you thought you were going to get, or something that you didn't think you were going to get?
You know, I'm hearing my cat doing destructive things over there. You know, as far as roles go, like I did a lot of little things, like we all do a lot of background work. I did on Days of Our Lives, I did a lot of background work, and worked on Star Trek Deep Space Nine. I was a photo double for one of the actors on the show, and actually they were doing an episode with like her and her evil twin, and so I ended up getting a bump so that I got to be more the evil twin. She still spoke all the dialogue, but I was seen and prominent and got bumped. So it's kind of like when you say your first role, it's like, I don't know what my first role was really. Like it's not anything that concrete, you know. Like definitely getting the reoccurring bit on the soap for a while, that was great fun. And I did another film called Split Second that I think it never got completely finished, but I had a really fun part on that and a great time shooting. And I think, you know, we made a pretty cool film. And it was a story that took place in the span of 24 hours. And we did that like actually right before the show 24 came out. So clearly the director was onto something with that concept. But you do so many things, and commercials as well, where they might run, they might not run, and I've been pretty lucky in that regard. I think, well, no, my Dan and Yogurt, my very first one I didn't run. But you do stuff and then you never see it, you know, just like that film I did and I never got to see it. And so that's really a long unanswer to your question.
Well, it's a good answer. You said you had worked with some A-list talent, some established in the soap. What tips can you give, like actors just starting out on, how they should handle themselves, or how to work with an A-lister? Because, there's that intimidation factor, and sometimes even though you're in the industry, you have a little bit of a starstruck scenario, or, there's just so much going through your head and so much emotion. Like, what would be a good tip to working with, A-list actors on a set, TV or film?
I really kind of believe in treating everyone with respect. I'm not really one to differentiate, oh, you're famous, you're not, you're this, you're that. I just kind of try to respect everyone and, do the best I can to support them and hope that whatever I'm contributing is contributing to the overall betterment for everyone. So, for me, that includes like not talking smack about people, not complaining, and those are things I apply to life in general. Like, I really hope to be a beneficial presence wherever I go and whatever I do. And that, I think it's the same on a TV or a film set. And, nobody knows anyone else's story. Like, everyone has their story, and nobody really has it all that easy, but you never really know what a person's been through and what has brought them to a certain point. So I really try to just, respect that and know that I don't know how they got there, and just try to kind of give people the benefit of the doubt.
That's a very, very good advice. And, you walk the walk and you talk the walk, because, you've been on 2 of my films, and that's exactly what you just described is how you were on my sets, my 2 films, just professional, very respectful, very charismatic, very willing to roll with the challenges and do what you need to do, and not talk smack, and just step in, do what you need to do when it's your time and it's your turn. And I feel very honored and privileged to have you on two of my projects. So, and we'll get to that a little bit later. But I do have.
It's a really nice compliment. Thank you.
Yeah, and you really are. I wished everybody that I work with was like you. I'm going to pull up your reel here. What I have is your reel from YouTube. So what I want to do is I want to pull that in so everybody can kind of see a little bit about how you work. So what's going to happen here is you have to be very quiet on your side because we'll be able to hear everything that you say and do while we're playing this trailer. So I'll give you a cue when we're coming back. And right now we're going to roll